Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm really excited to make this video. This was one of those things that we discussed during our Instagram Q&A, and on my page you guys were requesting to make this video. Even when I did a poll on which is the next video that you want me to make, this was the highest requested video. So I was like, okay, why not make it? Because this is a topic that I can keep talking about. Like, I have so much to say, so much to say. Trust me, it's like I can literally make a new series out of this. We'll talk about that towards the end of this video, but then let's begin. Well, this is not just another video that you see online, which is going to be about romanticizing my single life. No, no, no. We're not going to talk about, I'm not here to romanticize the singlehood unnecessarily. In fact, I'm here to state facts. There are a bunch of things that you have to know. And this video is not just intended for single people. Like, even if you're committed, even if you're in a relationship, marriage, whatever it is, I want you to listen to this video because there is going to be a lot of useful insights. So I highly suggest you watch this entire video. I'm someone who is intentionally single, but if you were to ask me, probably when I was 18, a few years ago, if I want to get married, I would be like, yes, I do want to get married. I do want to be in a relationship. In fact, growing up, I've always stayed intentionally single. I've never been in a relationship because I never believed in the idea of relationships outside marriage, as I was really religious growing up. I always wanted to get married. So my idea of relationships were only and only marriage, which is why I decided to stay a conscious single and a conscious celibate throughout school. But then I always was excited to get married. I've told my parents that I want to get married right that I was 18 because that seemed like a really exciting thing. Why would you not want to get married, right? Especially when you have been single all your life. But things have changed so much in the past few years because every time something interests me, I will geek out on it. And love and relationship is one topic that I have geeked out on so much that I was shocked to death to know the actual science behind falling in love. There's just so much that we are unaware of, and that we are naive about when we grow up. Because the main issue is that our idea of love comes from the media. One of the major influence that we have in terms of how we think about love is definitely going to be the media out there, because we assume what we see on screen in terms of love is what is real love. But the love that is usually showcased as a romantic thing, or something that is very nice and magical, is usually limerence. It's never love. It's obsessive love that's actually unhealthy. We're not going to talk about limerence right now. It's a huge topic on its own. It's just something that you should learn about. I can make a different video about that. But what I'm trying to say is that our idea of love is usually formed through the media that we watch. And most of the times, the love that is shown as the most magical love out there, the love stories that we usually come across, is very unhealthy. Like, the love that is portrayed is very unhealthy, and most of the times it's limerence. It's not even true love. So we grow up seeing the wrong type of love, and we always want that kind of love in life, and that's the kind of love that we romanticize growing up, which in itself is wrong. But in reality, love is not one of those magical, amazing. I mean, see, I'm not trying to belittle love. Love definitely is one of the best experiences of a human life, in my opinion. But at the same time, as much as it is a nice feeling, it's also a powerful feeling. Like, it's a really powerful feeling that can either make you or break you. And even though love is all magical, it's nice, it's goofy, cheesy, whatever it is on screen, and whatever we think it is, end of the day, literally, in literal sense, love is just a play of hormones. It's just the trick of nature to make sure that you procreate. So when you think about it literally, it can have not only psychological effects but also physiological effects. Now, how many of you guys know that love, like falling in love, can actually have neurological effects in your body? Like, it can hack your neurosystem. Now, to make more sense out of the entire video, I am going to introduce you to a little bit of science, and we're going to learn about three different hormones. These three hormones are the three major hormones involved in the process of falling in love. So one is dopamine, then comes oxytocin, and then comes adrenaline. Now, oxytocin is also called like the bonding hormone, the love hormone, like all sorts of names that you can give. Now, this is a hormone that is produced when you are having physical intimacy or when you're in physical proximity. Sometimes this is a hormone that's even produced when you're hugging your parents, your friends, when you're petting your pet. It's a hormone that creates bonding between people. So this is produced in high quantities within a mother when she is going through childbirth, because it's essential to create the bond that a mother and child has got. And it's produced in different quantities between a woman and a man. But for now, you just have to know so much about oxytocin. Now, moving on to the next one, which is dopamine. Dopamine, again, is the reward hormone, the happy hormone. It's usually something that's released when you have a nice, happy meal, when you exercise, or when you're feeling proud about something, when you achieve something, when you accomplish by the end of a productive day. These are the times when you have a spike of dopamine. Now, dopamine is also a hormone that's usually produced when you are addicted to drugs. So, what drugs do is that they help you to release this hormone called dopamine even without any other stimuli like exercise, or usually something that is only released during happy moments will be released even otherwise, which is what drugs do usually. And that's why you get addicted to this, because this hormone is very addicting. Not just this hormone, generally hormones can be very addicting, especially if it's not regulated well. Now, dopamine again is another hormone that's released when you're falling in love or in the process of being in a relationship at different times. And then comes adrenaline. Now, adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone, the stress hormone, whatever you want to call it, like something that you would have probably when you're going on a ride that's adventurous, or something that you have when you're stressed out about something. So this is the hormone that's usually produced in these kind of circumstances. So when you're in a relationship, there's always a lot of adrenaline spike, especially if you are in a toxic relationship, or if you end up having a lot of fights with your partner. Now, that's another hormone that's usually there in a romantic relationship. See, these are not the only three hormones that's usually produced when you're falling in love. There are other hormones like vasopressin, but you don't really have to know about that. For this video context, these are the only three hormones you need to know about. So when you're single, usually these hormones are balanced. Like, we're living a very normal life. There's not a lot of other external influences. As long as you're not into drugs, or you have like other negative stimuli in your environment that's causing all of these hormones to spike up in unhealthy amounts, you are generally very balanced in terms of these hormones when you are single. But when you're in a relationship, these hormones are produced in crazy quantities. Like, it can just spike up and low, and like, this can become really addictive. Generally, when you're in a healthy relationship, it's fine. In a lot of context, it's fine, because both of the parties will be having the same amount of hormones. Usually during the honeymoon phase and stuff, will be spiked up. Then it'll come to a stable end. But if things go wrong, then you can have the effects of a drug addict, like a withdrawal symptom, literally like a drug withdrawal symptom, or sometimes even worse than that. And nobody really talks about this. So if you are getting into a relationship, if you are getting into marriage or whatever, you need to know that you're literally signing up for a drug addiction for some time. So if you have the time for it, if you have like the means to live in a little bit of a delulu world, well, please go for it. But if you think you don't have the time for that right now, if you really want to focus on something with your life outside of relationships. Now, the reason why I talked about this is because I used to wonder growing up, like every time I hear stories of people committing suicide because of losing their romantic partners, when I used to hear about people killing people because their partners cheated on them, especially when I see people stay in abusive relationships, it used to never make sense to me, because I was such a rational person growing up. Like, I was this logical, mentally strong person. So then I used to keep questioning this thing. And every time I come across such things, I used to be like, oh, they're so weak. I would never tolerate something like this. I would walk out of a relationship. And I used to feel like, won't it be easy for a person to walk out of a relationship, especially if they get cheated on and stuff? Because now they know that they're not entitled or attached to someone who's not even treating them right. So I used to be very logical about it, which is not the case. In fact, it's not just about logic. As I mentioned, as these hormones are involved, a lot of neurology is involved in the process of falling in love. Usually, when something like that happens, usually when your partner turns out to be abusive, when you're in a toxic relationship or something, you become chemically bonded to them. Like, you become chemically bonded to the situation, wherein it becomes really difficult for you to come out of it. The process is very similar to the process of drug withdrawal. So, as much as we all know that it's going to be very difficult for a person to come out of a drug addiction, it's exactly the same case even with a relationship, because it's literally the play of hormones. A relationship, falling in love, is literally the play of hormones. So this is just one point, because there's a lot of things that I can otherwise talk about as well. I told you that this is a grand topic. Like, I can keep talking about love bombing, breadcrumbing, gaslighting, toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse, all sorts of things like that. Like, if I were to talk about these things, I can literally write a thesis on this topic at this point, because that's how much I've researched about this. So if you're interested in this video, if you found this useful, if you want to know more about different things like, toxic relationships, and why you shouldn't be getting into marriage, why you should be getting into a relationship before marriage and everything from a scientific point of view, then I want you to comment down below, and request me to do the video. Then I'll get to know if you're interested in this video or not, so that I can make more videos and put more effort into making these videos. Let's move on to the second point. When you're single, you have a lot of creative freedom, but at the same time, when you are in a relationship, then I feel like your creative freedom is confined. Your creativity is confined, in fact, because romantic relationships usually have a very strong influence on the way we think. With my friends and stuff, I've always noticed that when they're in a relationship, their creative potential is always confined to the expectations of their partner. So let's say if their partner thinks that so and so is attractive, or if their partner is someone that prefers so and so qualities, then they change into that person, because the influence that a romantic partner will have on you is really, really high. That can literally change the way you are. It can change your identity altogether. And now, this might be of benefit for you sometimes, like, in some cases when your partner is expecting, it can bring out the best in you, but most of the times it just confines someone's potential to what their partner wants. And I've noticed this more with women than with men. We don't have anyone to impress being single. Like, in my case, I can tell you that I have nobody in my life that I really want to impress at this point. So I just become my wildest self in terms of my creativity. I'm like doing all sorts of videos. I'm, talking about topics that I want to talk about. I'm being authentically me, because I don't have anyone out there that I'm trying to impress or change for. But the moment let's say I get into a relationship or marriage, then I would have this man that I really want to impress, that I want to be like, attractive to, which means I will change a lot of things about me depending on his preference. And that's very natural to me, and I think that's very natural to a lot of us, which is why I'm telling you, one of the reasons why I don't want to get into a relationship is because I really want to experience my authentic self, and I want to bring out the highest potential in me before I actually get into a marriage, because I know that will definitely confine my possibilities subconsciously. And the next thing that I've noticed is that your experiential value of life drastically decreases every time you're in a relationship. Like, in a sense, this person ends up being the epitome of happiness for you, and then everything that brings you happiness should be associated with him. Especially for women, all of my friends become so boring that literally not interested in any of the things that they do anymore when they're in a relationship, because everything that they have to do, if that should bring out the best form of happiness in them, then it should be associated with their partners. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're going on a all girls trip, then usually people in the relationship is always there being like, oh, I wish he was there. Oh, I wish I could have come here with him. I wish I could spend some time with him. And they're always like on call. So they're not able to enjoy anything that they're doing with life, just because they're caught up with the idea of their partner. And that is also, again, very scientific in nature. Cannot blame them for what they go through and for the attachment that they feel, because as we talked about, there are lots of hormones that are involved when you're in a relationship, especially in the initial stages of a relationship, the honeymoon phase and all of that. Maybe once you get married, and probably after 5 years, you get to a plateau and you get to a balanced state wherein you have like more regulated hormones and you're able to go by your day and enjoy things. But usually during the honeymoon phase, especially in the initial stages of your relationship, because of this high hormonal spike that you're experiencing, nothing becomes more interesting than this person itself. It's literally like asking an alcoholic to enjoy his life outside of alcohol. Like, this is why alcohol ruins people. Like, a lot of drugs ruin people, because they are experiencing a very high hormonal spike that they cannot experience with other normal activities. Which is why I would highly argue that your experiential value with your life drastically goes down the drain, and you just cannot enjoy the mundaneness of the day, the mundane moments of life, or probably like a nice chill afternoon with your friends anymore, until you reach that plateau stage, or the until you reach the balanced state of your relationship, which takes a lot of years most of the times. Then comes emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion is something that was very surprising to me when I came to know about it, because um, I always believe that love would bring out the best in you, and like this would be an energetic phase of your life. But the irony of a romantic relationship is that when you're in a romantic relationship, weirdly enough, because of the amount of hormonal spikes that you have, you end up being exhausted emotionally. Like, in the sense, you won't have the energy for any other activity. Like, let's say you're always talking to this person on call, or even by just having a very strong crush, this can entirely exhaust your system, because you're constantly wasting a lot of your energy on thinking about them, on balancing your hormonal spikes and whatnot. So your body is generally very exhausted, which can cause fatigue, which affects your work life, which just makes you a boring person. You're probably on bed all the time thinking about them, and they tend to dominate. Your partner can dominate the way you think, the way you feel throughout the day. So your life, your mood, your days are all dependent on a random person who has got a life of his own. Well, that in itself, the thought of this is exhausting to me. So I guess biologically, psychologically, chemically, hormonally, we can all agree that this is definitely an exhausting process to go through. And this might be great if you are in a relationship, or if you have experienced that, you might argue with me and be like, you have no idea how good this is. Well, I agree. Maybe this is an amazing thing to do, or maybe this is just interesting and the best thing in the world. But end of the day, it's exhausting. So if you have the time to get exhausted, if you really don't have other priorities, well, it's the perfect thing to do. But I am telling you, girls, if you're young, if you have way too many dreams, if you have so many things you want to do, maybe it's a better idea not to risk everything and get into a relationship soon, because anyway, end of the day, you have to get married. So your parents will compel you to get married end of the day, probably when you're about to hit 30. There's no running away from it. So if you find a good partner, if you think you're in a phase where you have found your perfect match, then you don't want to miss on them. You should in fact get married, but don't force marriage into your life, is all that I'm saying. Like, don't uh, marriage should not be a priority until and unless you meet a person that should be a priority. Got it? Don't end up getting married to the wrong person because you're in a hurry to get married for the sake of it. Because these are the problems. Whatever I'm explaining right now, and a few other tips that I'm going to share, are the real reasons why you should stay away from a relationship as long as you haven't found that perfect person. We'll talk about the perfect person and the idea of this soulmate and everything. Like, that's again another stupid segment that we're all introduced to through movies. And I'm not going to talk about that right now in this video, but at the same time, yeah, just don't force marriage into your life as long as it's not the right time or it's not the right person. Yeah, the right person. That's the term, not the perfect one. The right person is the term. Then for some of us, this is literally the best time of our entire lives. Like, if you're someone with a little bit of freedom, a little bit of liberty, if you're making your money, if you are healthy and stuff, trust me, this is literally one of the best phases of our lives, because this is a phase of our life where we have the least responsibility. I don't have a child or a husband waiting for me to wake up in the morning, cook for them, clean for them. There's nobody waiting for me or for me to do something. Like, nobody's dependent on me at this point. In fact, I am dependent on my parents. Like, just in case if something goes wrong, alhamdulillah, Allah Mubarak, I have them. A lot of us have that someone to depend. Like, some of us have just a single parent, some of us have both the parents, some of us have some means of dependency as we're young right now. And also at the same time, we are the most healthiest we might ever be. Then we are, full of energy. We have a lot of potential. We are just living our lives if we actually think about it and be grateful about it. That's not going to be the case once you get married. I'm not trying to say that marriage will kill your life or, will just make it bad. If you end up having a good partner, if you're lucky enough with your marriage, well, that can be again another amazing experience of your life. But whatever you're having right now is limited. You're not going to be single throughout your life. You will be forced to get married at one point in time. So marriage is anyway something that you will be forced to experience, whether you like it or not. But singlehood is definitely not something that you can stay in as much as you want, not for most of us. So just cherish the moment that you have right now. You're not going to be with your siblings and your parents, staying with them throughout the way you stay right now after marriage, which is unfortunately sad. So you're not going to be able to cherish this life even if you want to later. You cannot choose this life again. This is going to be a limited time period. So just enjoy this. Just make sure you understand how blessed you are to live the life you're living right now, and doing whatever the crap you want to do with your life without another person influencing the way you do things or the way you decide on doing things. And I guess that's it. This was the end of the video, and I would like to conclude this video with a disclaimer that the intensity of the repercussions that we talked about in this video of love would definitely vary from person to person quite a lot, depending on their, let's say, their traumas, their past, their upbringing, their mental health, mental state, mental strength, the intensity of the love that they felt, all sorts of things. So there are different variables in this. So I'm not trying to say that everything that I've mentioned in this video would be experienced by every other individual the same with the same exact intensity. Yeah, that's it. That's it. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you comment down if you enjoy the video so that I can make more on this topic, and hit the bell icon to be notified next time I put up a video. And yes,